people, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan Astrology report. So this is a report for Monday the 28th of June 2021, and we are moving into a new 13-day process, and the energy that we are moving into is the energy of the yellow warrior. So the yellow warrior energy is yellow, so it's all about the flowering, because the Mayan signs run through 4 colours. That's like one of the micro cycles that we go through all the time. So we've got red, white, blue, and then we finalise with yellow before returning to another red sign. Now, yellow warrior is a really interesting and integral part of the human being journey. It's definitely an integral part of my personal journey, and it's part of my makeup. You know, we have our Mayan sign, and then we have other signs that influence us in different ways. So if you haven't already signed up to the Galactic Mayan course that I am running, called the Galactic Gateway, the 20-day course that runs throughout the whole of the Lionsgate portal, you will learn lots about your personal astrological sign and its influences, as well as gaining a relationship with each of the 20 archetypes, as well as learning about galactic history, as well as having loads of dance and cacao ceremonies, as well as many, many other cosmic treats. But we'll come back to that later. So yeah, the yellow warrior really is about this space of the transformation of our story. So human beings have all been traumatized. We as people, because we are people as well as souls and starseeds, we've been traumatized, you know, and to varying different degrees, you know, and in varying different aspects of our lives. And you know, there's sometimes a thread within the conscious community that suggests that, you know, it's all about the shedding of the story. But for me, and for my channel, on a YouTube level and on a cosmic level as well, the thing that really feels to be true is that our story is our medicine. Our story is our gift. But the important aspect is for us to do the transformation process of the story. So as opposed to denying the story, as opposed to saying, oh, that didn't matter, that doesn't, you know, it didn't, stepping out of it, you know, we've got to step into it and through it. And that's really what the warrior is about. It's about this, the transformation of victimhood to our creative power. But also this piece of, you know, our creative power is based in our story, you know, our gifts, the plethora of gifts that come from our traumatic experiences are then our medicine for the world. So at the moment, for me, going through yet another death in the family, and this is really, you know, a big aspect of my code, and the trauma of my existence really has come through, you know, unexpected death in early life of close family members, one after another, and I'm kind of revisiting that now in different ways. But you know, I've really been sat with grief, you know, and for a long time I couldn't do that. I had to dissociate and survive because I was in survival for a very long time. But the reality now that I'm landing with, you know, is allowing those grief waves to come, allowing the pain to be experienced, which I guess is the first thing to mention within this like healing process, you know, and this yellow warrior process, this transformation of our wound process. Like, we have to feel it. We have to feel the pain. And that's not to say that we have to then project that outward. That's not to say that we have to do the drama dance with another. You know, these are separate things. The pain itself, the expression of the pain, the feeling, is allowing that emotional experience to process. It's allowing that emotion and energy to move through our system. And if we don't allow ourselves to do that, we then develop toxic behaviours, you know, whether that's manifested within our relationships, whether it's manifested in self-sabotage patterns. You know, I really know this. But we have a backlog of feeling, to process, and on a collective level as well. And this is the reason that we get triggered. This is the reason why things happen within our reality and within our lives that seem to repeat the same experiences, because it opens the door again of that specific thread where that energy has been blocked in the past. So it's like, okay, the door's open. Do you want to let this energy flow now? Do you feel safe enough to allow this energy to flow now? So the first piece of us transforming the experiences that we've had in the past into superpowers, essentially, is by allowing ourselves to feel. Now, the other thing that's really interesting to note as well with trauma and this idea of the development of superpowers, even though a lot of the time it's come from distortion, this experience of trying to keep ourselves safe creates additional aspects of us because it was survival. So for instance, you know, somebody may be incredibly attuned to the energy of other people. They may be able to pick up on the nuances of situations and interactions that other people may miss, and it may be coming from trauma response. It may be developed as a result of trauma response, but that does not mean that that capacity, when the person begins to integrate more and more, disappears. That capacity remains there, and then they can utilize that superpower for good, you know? So within this yellow warrior archetype, within our experience with yellow warrior, we really are given the opportunity to kind of check in with our relationship to our story. And I think something that I just really want to claim, and again, like, this is something that comes from my personal experience as opposed to collective truth. Don't believe in truth anyway, but, you know, check in and see how this lands for you. But I feel like, you know, for me, maybe it's because I was dissociating for a long time, I don't really know, but every time I kind of hit that pain point within my personal history, it feels like I'm going to die still, but the wave crashes and moves much faster, and I come back out of the process and into my centre. I don't know if that's the same for you, but my guides have been sharing with me, whilst they've been supporting me through my process at present, that it's not that I've not progressed, it's not that I've not integrated, it's just simply that the pain demands to be felt, and now I'm able to allow more of that feeling in, but it doesn't crush me because I feel safe to allow it in, you know. And in the moment, maybe I don't feel like I'm not being crushed, but through the flooding of my system with that energy and releasing that energy into nothingness again through its expression, I wake up the next day and I've got more space. And, you know, I'm going through a grief process, so it is like this. I feel like the other thing that I've realised is that I've been going through a grief process probably for about 20 years. But with that has come a load of superpowers. So the other piece, you know, within the yellow warrior, and again, this is a really I think we're also afraid, especially within the conscious community, of being in our ego. We're also afraid of whatever that means to us. We're also afraid of, you know, being a victim. We're also afraid of, you know, how will people perceive me if I'm not together, and if I'm a mess, and if I'm going into a bit of a toxic behaviour. But, you know, the reality is that kind of shunning away from going into those things, or shaming ourselves as a result of going into those things, or feeling like, no, I have to close that down and hide it, is another dissociation. So it's like, okay, so how do we create the space for us to express and feel what we're feeling, and to be in victim for a bit, even though that feels so disgusting and just so unspiritual, without it having this huge knock-on effect? Because when we allow ourselves to feel what has happened to us, you know, especially the really traumatic things, there's a tragedy within that, there's a tragic energy within that. And sometimes, you know, we have to allow ourselves to validate the pain of our personal story, but how do we allow ourselves to hold ourselves in that? And that's not to say that we don't get support from other people and all of that stuff, but there's something in this validation that comes from inside of us, as opposed to seeking that validation on the outside of us. So often, you know, this energy of victim was because our pain wasn't validated, you know, our pain wasn't held by the people that were around us, and we didn't know what to do with it. But now that's often created these like slightly manipulative or unconscious behaviours around that. It's like the identity gets formed around that, and then we play these weird little games to try and get that validation. Whereas, can we hold ourselves? Can we create the space for that child within us that was hurt, or that teenager, or that young adult that was hurt? Can we create the space for us to hold them? Can we be the ones that validate our own pain, our own story? Can we allow ourselves to feel to the point of that part of us dying? And I don't mean the child, but the part of us that was kind of traumatized, and yeah, can we allow that part of us to be experienced in pain and die? You know, can these experiences of pain, can we allow ourselves to really hit the bottom of I want to say jug, we're not in a jug, the bottom of the swimming pool? Can we allow ourselves to really drop into that place and just hang out there for a bit? You know, not need to hold on, not need to do anything, just allow it. And then on the up spiral of that, you know, when we're coming back out of it again, take note of your superpowers. Recognise the incredible capacities and facilities that were created as a result of what happened to you, because that's why these things happen to us. You know, we've very much beamed into the planet, onto the planet, into the planet, into the reality, you know, as a collection of energies for a specific reason. And it's like, you know, evolution is constantly, the synchronistic force is the evolutionary force, and evolution is always wanting essentially to heighten vibration. You know, if we kind of look at it like that, it's like the development of capacities, you know, so that vibrations heighten, so that the planetary consciousness heightens, you know, because we're always, and have always, there goes all the fireworks, we've always been in the middle of the day as well. We've always been on a thread of evolution. You know, we know this through a science lens, but the synchronistic force is a conscious evolution. And you know, we've come into this world that's on the cusp of being very harmonious, and we needed our superpowers to be built in order for that to happen. We also needed to allow ourselves to be part of the human story, to embody the pain of the human story, so that we can then let it go. If we don't embody it, we can't clear it. You know, this idea of us like healing other people without it being about us is nonsense. You know, that's not the way that this works. It's like each human has to embody the pain story, has to have the pain body built in order to dismantle it. We're not dismantling the pain body of other people, we're embodying it. We're dismantling ourselves. That's the only way that we are evolving. It's about each individual person on their path. That isn't to say that we don't have amazing skills to share with one another. We don't have notes to share with one another. We don't have poetry to share with one another. You know, it's like the sharing of our experience is inspiration for the own individual self-transformation that comes then out into the collective, that clears the ancestral line, that brings us into a more balanced place. So with the Yellow Warrior as well, there's this other piece of purpose, you know, like personal purpose, destiny activation that comes through the integration. You know, it's kind of the Chiron energy. So the idea of Chiron being the wounded healer. The myth is much deeper and larger than that, so have a look into it if you want to. But Chiron energy is really this like, okay, so the person that has the medicine is the person that has the pain. You know, so we're constantly working with these two things, and this is the alchemy point. So the alchemy point being, you know, our lead, our base, our metal, you know, the heavy energy of our person being transformed into the gold. It's the lotus process, you know, the lotus blossoms through the dirt, you know, and this is who we are, this is what we're here for. So I will leave it there for now because I feel like this has been quite a lengthy one, a lengthy little channel. But also, today I'm filming this video on the Sunday, and it's the first day of the final moon of our 13 moon month process. So it's also, we're kind of coming into the completion of the year, so take some time to feel into all of that. And like I was saying earlier on, not long, on the 24th of July, the Galactic Gateway Course launches, and I'm so excited about it. Like, the content is amazing, and you know, I'm really all about equipping you to be able to do your journey, you know. And for me, I've had so many incredible teachers and delved so deeply into Galactic Mayan astrology, and all of these different pieces have completely transformed my being and woken me the fuck up, basically. And I really want to support people. I want to support you to be able to also have your own process, your own journey, your own relationship with all of these modalities, and especially navigate our reality through synchronistic flow. And I've been initiated into many, many different things that I'm here to gift to you. So if you're not already in the Milky Waves group on Facebook, have a look for us there, because I'm giving out lots of exciting things within that group at the moment. And I will also post the course link below. Have a look at it, drop into it, and get your space on the spaceship. Get your space on the spaceship. There we go. All right, darlings, have a beautiful Wavespell, and I will see you next time.